Yes, today I'd like to start with the story of a philosopher, Thales of Miletus. In Aristotle's Politics, he talks about a philosopher whose name was Thales of Miletus. So what he basically does was philosophize as all other philosophers. But at this time, there was a specific kind of joke going around that basically was that those who can do, and others philosophize. So here his financial status was pretty low, but it was something that he was himself. It was something that he was choosing to be rather than something was forced into. But after hearing this kind of joke all around, he got tired of this, and he proved his point. What he did was basically he bought olive press at very low rates, and after a specific season, the demand got really up, and he made a fortune from it. So in Aristotle's Politics, he attributes his success to his knowledge of astronomy. That he predicted that the season would make the demand go up, and he bought them at low price. But reading Anti-Fragile, Nassim Taleb here says about something different. What he basically says is that Thales had optionality in his investment. So what does optionality actually mean, sir, and how did it help actually Thales? So it can be understood with a specific graph here. As you can see, there is a graph, and this line represents the total profit or loss a person can experience. The total loss is max minus 10. In Thales' case, it was the lower end that he had given to buy that olive presses. But if the demand goes up, there is no cap to the how much the profit upside can go up. It is really non-linear. So when you are not obliged to do something, but you, the upside are totally up. There is kind of Jensen inequality in this thing. Uh, that is something that Nassim Taleb attributes to optionality. So, uh, optionality, when he talks about optionality is something that is present among almost every successful business. And there is a specific way through which optionality is achieved, which he calls tinkering. This is basically trial and error. So, what is tinkering? So, tinkering basically comes as this. Uh, you repeatedly try various things. Think about many business which runs different products across a different research groups. Okay, so each have a specific known downside. But even if one pays off, the upside will be more than the collective downside of the aggregate, the other all the parts of the system. So that is something through which he means tinkering. Basically, trial and error in a more non-linear place. But blind tinkering in itself is not good either. Obviously, the specific content that you put in here actually matters. But if you are doing all the effort, putting all the energy, all the resources into something, and the structure is itself bad, then it doesn't really matter. The payoff would not be huge. In a specific experiment done by two economists, what was the uh, basic experiment was they had made a simulation in which they had two different kind of agents. In one, the average agent was not that smart. In another, the agent was smart. And when the experiment ended, both the experiment had similar capital allocation efficiency. So what does it tell us? It tells us that the structure of the specific system matters more than the individual unit that are taking the part inside it. So obviously, if you are doing all the creativity, all that effort into something that doesn't have a high non-linear payoff upside, in fact, maybe if it has more non-linear downside, that it's even worse. So first, you should make the structure good where you have more optionality, and after that, what you can try to do is put all your effort, creativity, energy in it. That would more likely to be have more payoff than you. So how do you find out opportunity in a system? Well, I find out there are three main specific information. Two are more crucial. One is extra add-on which would be better to have, which can help you find opportunity in a system. The first will be finding the downside of the system. The downside of the system is what you have to lose from the system, what you can lose. There are two main things. Downside should be known and downside should be limited. If you know those two things, the first checkpoint is completed. The second information that you should know is that the upside from the system should be non-linear or high. Like, it should not be predictable. It can be predictable, but it should be really high, way more than the downside. That's another information. The third point which I would like to add is correlation between the systems. Let's say you have 5 bets, okay, and let's say there is a movie actor who is currently working 5 different shows, and each show has an opportunity. Each show will not go too down, but they can go massive hit. So if one of his show actually goes hit, then there is a good chance that his other show would get more traction as well, and people are more willing to watch those shows. So in this, all other systems are actually correlated with each other, and if the actor kind of does something wrong, so then the all the system would affect each other as well. Correlation between the system also matters well. Uh, one interdependency between different system can affect the upside or downside of the entire system. A good thing would be to achieve independency between the system where they both don't affect each other. But if you can achieve optionality with limited downside and more upside between the correlation of the system, that will be even better to have. Well, there is also one more problem with finding optionality, that is that we have limited time, and with too much tinkering, there is not necessarily that we will find a very high amount of payoff. So what are some of the other tricks that we can do to find something that have optionality? Well, one of the thing I found is that there are domains that have more fertility. What does fertility means here? By fertility, what I mean is that the system has more overall chances of uh, the success of the bets that it in is. That for example, starting a food chain in an area with already 5 different food chain stores versus in an area with more demand but less food chain would be better. So the second one is more uh, fertile, and if you start the store here, then in more limited time with more limited energy, you have a higher chance of founding more better and successful bet. Next, I would like to end with a practical exercise which you can do. Here we have two systems. One have only 2 bets where the downside is too limited and the upside is too non-linear. And here we have 5 system with a little higher downside than the other system and different upside. Although they are not as high as this system has 5 different bets, so it has more chances of one bet actually landing. But it is a so which system do you think should you choose between those two? So a lot of people, what they do is basically something like this: moderate bets with high downside and limited upside. But if you see here, uh, a lot of them would have the collective downside from here will be higher. The collective downside will be like payoff from the one system. So it isn't actually 5 system. It's like 4 system here. Because if one of them fails, then if 4 of them fails, then in only one would pay off. So you need at least 2 of the systems to actually succeed so that you make a profit. Other than that, you are not making any profit. And even worse, if they are correlated with each other, the downs, like if one of your company is failing, other company is also failing, then the entire system would have higher chances of failing, and the more downside you would have to face. But These kind of system, the downside is too limited and upside is too high. It's more like a barbell strategy that you can do, and the total downside is overall lesser and you have higher chances. uh, so that was about optionality and anti-fragility for today.